He lost his crown, his freedom, and finally his head. King Louis XVI met a brutal end beneath the unforgiving blade of the guillotine. But his fate was just the beginning of a revolution soaked in blood and cruelty, where thousands would be executed in the name of liberty. This is the savage story of the French Revolution. For 10 years, France was torn apart by hunger, betrayal, and terror. What started as a fight for justice turned into a nightmare that shook the world. Today, we'll uncover the dark, brutal truth behind the French Revolution, from its explosive beginnings to the rise of a man who would crown himself emperor. France in the late 18th century was a powder keg waiting to explode. The kingdom was divided into 3 social classes called the Three Estates. The first estate was the clergy, wealthy and privileged. The second estate was the nobility, living in luxury with almost no taxes. And the third estate? The commoners, peasants, workers, and the growing middle class, who made up over 90% of the population but carried the heaviest tax burden. On top of this social injustice, France was drowning in debt. Years of costly wars, including their support of the American Revolution, drained the royal treasury. Meanwhile, King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette continued to live lavishly, spending millions on palaces and parties. Adding to the crisis was a terrible famine. Poor harvests led to bread shortages, and bread was the main food for most people. When bread prices soared, hunger and anger spread across the country. And all this was happening while revolutionary ideas from the Enlightenment were gaining ground. Philosophers like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Montesquieu challenged the old order, arguing for liberty, equality, and the rights of man. The stage was set. The people of France wanted change, but the ruling class refused to listen. By 1789, France's financial crisis forced King Louis XVI to call the Estates General, a general assembly representing the 3 estates, to find solutions. It was the first time it had been called in over 150 years. But tensions quickly rose. The Third Estate demanded more political power because, despite representing the vast majority of the people, they had the same single vote as the tiny First and Second Estates combined. When their demands were ignored, the Third Estate declared themselves the National Assembly, claiming to represent all French citizens. Locked out of their meeting hall, they gathered in a nearby tennis court and swore the famous tennis court oath, vowing not to disband until France had a new constitution. This bold act marked the start of a power struggle that would topple the monarchy. On July 14th, 1789, rumors spread that the king was sending troops to crush the National Assembly. Parisians, fearing for their freedom, stormed the Bastille, a fortress prison symbolizing royal oppression. The fall of the Bastille became the spark of the French Revolution. It inspired peasants across the country to rise up in what became known as the Great Fear, a wave of violent rebellions against landlords and nobles. The old order was unraveling fast. If you're finding this deep dive into the French Revolution eye-opening, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps support the channel. And if you want to uncover more shocking stories from history like this, make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. In August 1789, the National Assembly adopted the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, a revolutionary document that proclaimed all men are born free and equal, with natural rights to liberty, property, security, and resistance to oppression. This declaration laid the foundation for modern democracy, inspiring future revolutions around the world. But while it promised freedom and equality, its ideals were not fully realized for all. especially women and the poor. The revolution wasn't over. In October 1789, thousands of angry women marched from Paris to Versailles, demanding bread and forcing the king and queen to move to Paris under house arrest. King Louis XVI's attempts to flee the country in 1791 only deepened mistrust. The monarchy was seen as a threat to the revolution's ideals. In 1792, the monarchy was abolished, and France was declared a republic. The king was put on trial for treason and sentenced to death. On January 21st, 1793, King Louis XVI was executed by guillotine, the symbol of the revolution's ruthless justice. After the king's death, France descended into chaos. The revolution became darker and more violent during the Reign of Terror. Led by Maximilien Robespierre and the Committee of Public Safety, thousands were accused of being enemies of the revolution and sent to the guillotine, including Queen Marie Antoinette. Paranoia ruled Paris. Friends turned on friends. No one was safe from suspicion. The bloody terror lasted almost 2 years, leaving a deep scar on France's history. Robespierre's own execution in 1794 marked the end of the Reign of Terror. But France remained politically unstable. The revolution had destroyed the old monarchy, but no new stable government took its place. In 1799, a young military leader named Napoleon Bonaparte seized power in a coup d'etat, ending the revolution and beginning a new chapter, first as First Consul, then as Emperor of France. The French Revolution forever changed the course of history, toppling kings, inspiring democracy, and showing both the power and the dangers of fighting for freedom. If you learned something new or were shocked by the cruelty and chaos, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more incredible history stories every week. Share your thoughts in the comments. What part shocked you the most? Until next time, stay curious.